This video contains spoilers for Season 1, Episode 1 of Hazbin Hotel. Everyone, I'm afraid something terrible has happened. A TV show might not be good. We're gonna get through this together, I promise. The first 4 episodes of Hazbin Hotel are officially out, and there's a lot to talk about, but what I want to discuss is the very first episode, Overture, and the way it functions, or rather doesn't function, as a series premiere, because it's kinda a mess. If I had to pick one word to describe the first episode, it would be crowded. It contains not 1, not 2, but 5 major plot beats. 1. Lucifer calls Charlie and asks her if she wants to take his place to meet with Adam, the leader of the Angelic Army. 2. Charlie meets with Adam, she pitches her redemption plan to him, and he tells her it's stupid. 3. Adam says that exterminations are going to be twice a year from now on. 4. We cut to Adam and Loot, and it's revealed that during the recent extermination, for the first time ever, someone in hell managed to kill an exorcist. 5. Adam says that at the next extermination, in 6 months, they will kill every demon in hell. Okay then. That's quite a lot to jam into any episode, let alone the first. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's noticed this cultural shift towards almost consolidating TV shows and movies into the same medium. TV shows are becoming shorter and shorter, meaning that the pacing is becoming faster and faster, and they have very little time to include anything that's not crucial to the plot. In 1966, the first season of the original Star Trek was 29 episodes, which were about 50 minutes each. In 2022, the first season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds was only 10 episodes, of roughly the same length. Combine that with the snazzy new binge model, where streaming services will drop entire seasons of TV shows at once, and you can sort of see how entertainment has become collateral damage in the cultural shift towards instant gratification. Television and film are different media with different strengths. A movie demands efficiency. A TV show does not. Ideally, a show has time. It can afford to give you some room to breathe. Every single episode doesn't have to be packed with crucial plot developments. But it's the first episode of Hazbin Hotel. I'm barely 20 minutes into the entire series, and Adam is already grabbing me by the shoulders and yelling, "Extermination in 6 months!" And it's like, whoa, take me out to dinner first. I'm not saying that a first episode can't have anything plot important. It definitely can. If they wanted a cliffhanger, they could have ended with finding the body and revealing that this has never happened before. That would have been plenty to chew on by itself. But the extermination being pushed up by 6 months is mid-season finale material, at the very least. Quite frankly, I feel like meeting with a representative of heaven for the first time is mid-season finale material on its own. Doing it in the first 15 minutes is really just a waste, because there's no chance to build any intrigue about it at all. By the way, while all of this was happening, this episode also had a B-plot. The B-plot of this episode is that the main cast, minus Charlie, film a commercial for the hotel. Which, honestly, that should have been the A-plot. A commercial would be a good idea. It's an in-universe excuse to introduce the characters, but there are also plenty of opportunities for hijinks to keep it from being boring. So it wouldn't have been redundant for people who would watch the pilot, but it would have given new viewers some orientation. Speaking of new viewers, I could be wrong, but I don't feel like this show is going to appeal to them. Because I watched this episode, and I felt like it was way too much at once. And then I remembered that I've seen the pilot. And this show is going to be streaming on Amazon Prime, and as far as I know, the pilot will not be streaming with it. So any new viewers who see this show on Prime are jumping right into episode 1 as their first exposure to Hazbin Hotel. I didn't feel like that would go well. So, I decided to test it out. My lovely girlfriend has never seen the Hazbin Hotel pilot, and in fact knew next to nothing about Hazbin Hotel at all. So I corralled her into watching episode 1 with me. I didn't tell her what I expected, I just told her I wanted her perspective as a total outsider. and my instinct was correct. She did not think that it clearly established anything. She got the basic premise that it was a hotel/rehab, but beyond that she was kinda lost. She said that it was overwhelming, and that if she'd been watching it of her own volition, she would have turned it off 10 minutes in. Obviously that's only one person, it's not anything definitive, but it's food for thought. Speaking of first impressions, I would also like to discuss the opening of the episode. Hazbin Hotel opens with a Judeo-Christian lore dump that lasts for 1.5 minutes, and then 30 seconds where they explain the premise of the show. So, there are a few problems with that. First of all, there didn't need to be a lore dump. As a general rule, an audience should learn about the world by watching the characters interact with it. Second, if they insisted on a lore dump, the mechanism for it shouldn't have been so incredibly ham-fisted. The entire thing was apparently Charlie reading it out of a book out loud to herself. Third, this specific lore dump was especially unnecessary because the audience already knew a lot of it. Abrahamic mythology is pretty well ingrained in the Western consciousness. You don't have to explain the Garden of Eden and Lucifer's fall from grace. Lilith is definitely less ubiquitous than Adam and Eve as a figure from Jewish folklore, but she's still not exactly obscure. And equating Lucifer with the Serpent of Eden is so common that I just assume it's the case unless specified otherwise. The whole thing is redeemed a little bit by the fact that it's very obviously Lucifer and Lilith's side of the story. You can tell that they're unreliable narrators, so that's nifty, but it was still unnecessary. The lore drop also says that the real reason for exterminations is so that hell can't rise against heaven, but then later Charlie says it's because of overpopulation, so I don't know what's up with that. But don't get me wrong, there are some good ideas here. I like the justification that Lucifer is banished to hell so that he can only ever see the negative results of free will. That makes sense. It's a very fitting punishment. And this thing they're going for, with Lilith as the powerhouse behind a disillusioned Lucifer, is really interesting. I like it a lot, and I think it makes a fair amount of sense. Also, I had always assumed that Lucifer decided to start wearing a top hat at some point, probably once he was king of hell. But the implication here is that God created Lucifer with a top hat. Like, God was like, you know what? This guy needs a bit of pizzazz. Anyway, moving on. I don't have a transition for this part. I'm just going to start talking about the voice acting now. The pilot voice actor is being replaced as kind of a dead horse, so I'm not going to beat it too much. But it does demand to be addressed, because there's an aching hole in this production where Michael Kovac is supposed to be, and it's incredibly obvious every time that Angel Dust opens his mouth. Most of the new voice actors are fine. In my opinion, best performance in the first episode is probably Adam.
275? Whoa! Badass! Awesome job, Danger Tits. Pound it.
No, not awesome. Those are my people. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. That must suck for you!
Even when his jokes don't land, you can tell the actor's having fun, and that goes a long way. Also, this goof got me really good.
It's a solution to our biggest problem!
Oh, herpes. Yeah, that's a bitch.
No, our other biggest problem!
Oh, ugly people? Math. Global warming? No, wait, that's Earth's problem.
I want to like Keith David as Husk, I really do, but I can't. It's honestly just an egregious miscasting. Husk is an old man and a smoker and an alcoholic, and Keith David's voice is smooth like butter.
Why do you think I'm here? You actually think I'd be cleaning bottles and listening to you fucks bitch and moan all the time if he wasn't forcing me?
I could see him as tons of other people, but he's not Husk. I think Vaggie is genuinely the hardest I've ever heard a voice actor phone it in, which is wild since it's Stephanie Beatriz.
Well, at least you aren't alone.
We're in hell, Toots. That's kind of the end of the road, ain't it?
Well, maybe it doesn't have to be. Just because nobody has made it out before doesn't mean it's not possible.
I have no idea what happened there. And Angel Dust is just woof.
If when you're filming a commercial, can I suggest you take better advantage of the talented celebrity you have right here?
Angel, you're a porn star.
A famous porn star. I'll have the horniest sinners knocking these walls down to get in.
I feel bad for the guy that voices Angel Dust now, because it's blindingly obvious that he was told to do his best Michael Kovac impression, and it's genuinely kind of embarrassing to watch. Couple miscellaneous thoughts finishing up. I thought that Charlie's song was bad. Adam's song was much better. The animation is... I don't know. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. With regards to music and animation, I don't really have the knowledge or vocabulary to put my finger on why I think something is good or bad, so I hope that other people talk about it. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to keep me warm on cold, cold nights.